Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue. Happy Monday. I hope you guys all had a great weekend. In this video, we're going to go ahead and continue our discussion on the Batman, since Matt Reeves did kind of address the Robert Pattinson situation on his social media. And we're going to also continue our discussion on the Man of Steel from my previous video, because the director that we all hold in high regard did address the rumors on his attachment to the project. So that's going to be an interesting one. And for the last topic today, we're going to talk about these new DCEU headlines that have been popping up that I find a little skeptical. Even though there may be some truth to them, I'm starting to question some of these things, and starting to question, how I'm responding to some of these headlines. But before we get into this news right here, I did want to say a quick announcement. I apologize for missing the reading the comments video from this past weekend. We'll read some of the comments at the end of this video. And the second announcement is a big announcement. It's a more personal announcement. I know it has nothing to do with superhero-related news, but it has to do with myself. And since you guys, some of you guys have been following us since the beginning. Some of you guys are brand new followers. Welcome. I did want to announce something that I've been holding in for a good amount of time now. So I thought it's time to share it with you guys, my YouTube fam. So I wanted to let you guys know that I am going to be a dad. So. It's crazy. It's something that's been boggling my mind for a long time now, and I've been wanting to say it, just trying to find the right time, and I realized there's no right time to say it. Let me just go ahead and tell you guys I'm gonna be a dad. So some of the times I've been if I've been missing any videos, if I'm trying to get ready in preparation for this big life change to happen, man. So Darren knows. I got an announcement, a gender reveal announcement I'll probably put on this channel. It's going to be cool. It's going to be Star Wars themed. It's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to put it up on this channel, but I thought I'd tell you guys, you guys have been with me or with us for a while now, and a big part of my life. So I thought you guys should know. So that's the news I wanted to reveal, you guys. I know it's not superhero related, but I just wanted to get it off my chest. But now, let's go ahead and move on to today's topic. First topic being the Batman, the Matt Reeves Batman movie. Now, we have not officially got word from Warner Brothers, or an announcement from Warner Brothers about the Robert Pattinson casting, though it has been announced that he is our next Batman. And we got some confirmation from Matt Reeves himself, the director of this Batman movie. And he posted on Twitter and said, and just simply put, 3 bats emojis, and he put a GIF from Robert Pattinson's Good Time movie, this acclaimed movie that you guys have all been telling me to watch, and is definitely on my list to watch. I was gonna watch it this past weekend, but when I was scrolling through Amazon, I was about to buy it, but I came across mid-90s, the Jonah Hill's directorial debut. It was an amazing movie. Mid-90s was incredible. All the nostalgic feels of, especially when I was a skater and just growing up in the 90s. So I watched that movie, but definitely Good Time is on my list, and Lost City of Z is also on my list. And yeah, I definitely need to familiarize myself with this guy outside of Twilight. That's a franchise that I think he kind of despises at this point as well. So I'm super excited, and this is giving me all the Batman feels right here just alone. I know it's not tied to the Ben Affleck Batman at all, but it definitely gives me some, the same vibes that I was getting from Ben Affleck, his hypnotizing stare in the BVS in BVS. So, yeah, I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for all the potential of this movie, because Matt Reeves is developing a trilogy. I don't know, I forgot if I touched on that in the initial video, but this is probably why Matt Reeves took so long to really get the script right, is because he's laying the foundation. He's really thinking ahead as well. So I hope he's not getting ahead of himself. I hope he's laying the foundation to make an excellent trilogy. But I hope he's really focused. I'm sure he's focused and zoned in on making a great debut for this new Batman we have. So really excited for the potential here. Even though he was not my first choice, not your first choice probably, it is the Batman we got, and I'm all for it. I'm rallying behind this guy, so super excited. Let me know what you guys think. Has your opinion changed at all? Surprisingly, a lot of you guys have supported him in the comments, and that's really cool to see, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic today, and it has to do with Christopher McQuarrie. So basically, a bunch of headlines have been coming out and posting on social media, and I've seen it around on the websites that I get news from, and basically saying that Matthew Vaughn says he is no longer in talks for a Man of Steel sequel. Okay, no big surprise there. But he goes and directly comments down on that Twitter post and says, exclusive. They never ask, they never will. Carry on. So kind of a gut-wrenching thing to hear. Christopher McQuarrie, excellent director. It's one of those things that, he was one of the guys that I wanted to, for sure. I would love to have seen him, take on the Man of Steel, but, looks like it's not going to happen, again, because we haven't got no official word or announcement from, about Man of Steel lately. I'm not as, gut-wrenched as I normally would be to hear this, but the curious part is he says they never asked. Okay, that's fine. Maybe WB, again, has their own plans going on right now, but he says they never will. And I'm missing something. Maybe I missed a whole news or a news cycle where did Christopher McQuarrie had some bad relationship? Did he have does he have a bad relationship with WB or something? I don't know. You guys let me know if you guys are up on that, the news on that front, because that part was the most curious part of this response. He says they never will. Seeing this though, man, Matthew Vaughn, I talked about him in my last video, but Christopher McQuarrie, man, he was definitely up there on my list. What he did with the, new Mission Impossible movies, just incredible. Totally reinvigorated the franchise, in my opinion, and making some of the best Mission Impossible movies to date. And it sucks. He's not going to do it, so whatever. We haven't got news lately, so it's not like my hopes were incredibly high anyways. So I'm excited to see what potentially we may get in the future, but it looks like Christopher McQuarrie is out of that picture. So let me know what you guys think. I know some of you guys have thrown in some of your picks for a potential director, but we might want to hold off on that because of what we're going to talk about next. And what we're going to talk about next is some of these headlines coming out of a website that we've been quoting a lot lately, actually. And that website is We Got This Covered. So, in the past several videos, we've been, they definitely dropped some headlines that make us want to hit that click button. And again, they apparently have a source, with WB. I'm not questioning it at all. They probably do. Sources, anonymous sources can be wrong and they can be right at times, but they are dropping a ton of headlines that are just like, man, I'm seeing. They're the only ones I'm seeing like report on some of these, even though some of these headlines may be headlines that we've heard in the past, but like lately they've just been dropping headline after headline that's been getting me to be like, whoa, this is crazy. So look, check it out. I typed in DCEU reboot on Google, and then the only websites pretty much that are reporting on this news is them right here. So it's like Warner Brothers rebooting the entire DCEU into 2 separate universes. W planning to reboot Superman in the DCEU. Supergirl movie will reboot the DCEU's Kryptonian mythos. And then they have a interesting article. Could there be another Batman v Superman? And again, it's all tied into their main a bit of news that, hey, this DCEU is going to be divided into 2 separate universes. Now, I know this is going to get a lot of fans riled up and angry and just confused, because it's really confusing hearing this right now, and I get it. So what I really want to talk about, I guess, in regards to absorbing all of this, and I'll get into each little point in a second, but just how we as fans absorb this news, how we take this news is kind of like, I think it's kind of important, because a lot of us spend a lot of time, especially if we're big DC fans. Now, I know the last few videos we've done are on pretty much DC stuff, because Darren and I are big DC fans. But as DC fans, it could be so easy to get trapped in a state of anger and frustration. But I think it's a waste of energy to do that. I think the best thing to do is just have conversations about what we'd like to see going forward, because we can't control any of those other variables. Complaining does help sometimes, but I'm at that point where Comic-Con is going to be here soon. We're sure to get some answers on a lot of these fronts. Hopefully, I'm sure we're going to get some of these answers. But yeah, best thing we can do is take what we get and just be excited about the fact that, man, we live in a time where we're getting a lot of incredible things to consume, So there's a lot of great things out there, Obviously, DC is a big part of it, but there's a lot of other things out there too. So I'm trying to just reframe how I accept some of these news bits. Again, they're the only ones I've seen covering some of this stuff. So let's take this with a grain of salt so far. Hopefully they're not right in some regards, but if they are right, hey man, they're dropping a huge scoop right now. So very quickly, them rebooting the entire DCEU into 2 separate universes. So what they kind of said in the article was the Batman and Supergirl, so Matt Reeves' Batman and Supergirl are going to kind of take place in their own universe. Now, I don't think they're actually going to go out there and explain that, but what's happening in those movies, I don't think is going to tie into what we've gotten in the past from the DCEU. So I think that's what is going to happen if this is true. Now, it says that also what they heard from their sources, that what we've gotten so far, the successful movies in the DCU are going to remain in its own universe, but they're going to stay separate until the potential for a Flashpoint event could happen in the future. Maybe they can merge what works for the 2 universes. So they're leaving that open there. And then last thing is that Supergirl, the Supergirl movie, which is supposed to, I guess, start production in 2020, is going to reboot the Kryptonian mythos, and I'm not sure exactly what it means. Now, I'm just reading the headline. I quickly read through the article, but again, take this up with a huge grain of salt. So it's apparently going to be a new take on the destruction of Krypton, and again, they say that it's going to reboot, the Kryptonian mythos, and I don't know if it's necessarily going to reboot it, but seeing it from a different perspective could kind of change everything, could expand on things. So I don't think it necessarily has to reboot if this is true. I don't think it necessarily has to be a reboot more than just seeing it from a different angle. You know, we got one perspective from Jor-El's perspective, but we're probably just gonna get Kara's perspective, if anything. You know, I think it would be, if this was true again, I think it would be a mistake to reboot that part of it, because I think for the most part that was, if you didn't like Man of Steel, which I think is, or right now is my favorite superhero movie of all time, if you didn't like Man of Steel, which I know some of you don't, I think most people who didn't like the movie thought that was some of the coolest parts in the movie, the whole Krypton introduction in the beginning. So you know, I think it would be a mistake. Of course, you know, I am a fan of the old guard of DC movies, so again, of course I think it's going to be a mistake, but is it going to be true? I'm sure we're going to get a different perspective from Kara's point of view as well. So I hope it's not true, but again, I'm taking all of these headlines with a huge grain of salt. I'm going to wait to see what kind of announcements we get out of Comic-Con. But until then, hey man, We Got This Covered is definitely keeping me reading on their site. So I don't mean to throw any shade at all to this website. We've been reading a lot of their stuff lately and covering some of the topics they've had coming out, but it's just crazy how they're the only ones putting some of this news out about like the 2 universes and stuff like that. So if it's true, it's a huge scoop for them. And yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think. You know, I think at this point, again, I told you how I'm kind of taking this news. I'm kind of speculating on it and just imagining what we would get if it was true. And at this point, I'm not ready to get outraged about anything. I'm just excited that we're gonna get some good movies coming up. Hopefully, you know, Wonder Woman's great. Hopefully we get a Shazam 2. We know we got Aquaman 2 coming, this Batman movie. You know, they're supposed to be developing the Green Lantern movie. The New Gods, I'm kind of iffy on. You know, Tom King joining Ava DuVernay still, you know, doesn't get me crazy excited. You know, Tom King's been pretty divisive lately, especially with this whole Heroes in Crisis thing and you know, him getting kicked off the Batman comic. So yeah, a lot of interesting, crazy things. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about these We Got It Covered stories about, you know, the rumors about WB rebooting the DCEU and separating it into 2 universes. Could be interesting. You know, I'm not ready to get outraged again. But let's end this video now by reading some of your comments. And I'm just going to read a few of them because I did miss the reading the comments video yesterday. And I'm just going to go off kind of some of the latest comments we've had. I tried to respond to a lot of you guys personally. So let's go ahead with Top Hat here. He says, about Robert Pattinson, is now they need to cast the Nightwing movie. I feel everyone forgets that Nightwing is supposed to be one of the most attractive superheroes, Hemsworth level attractiveness. And yeah, I gotta admit, man, Chris Hemsworth, man, that guy's a good looking guy. But yeah, Nightwing, you know, hopefully this like I think I've said this in my previous video, man, Chris McKay is supposed to direct that Nightwing movie, and he was super excited and active on Twitter about it, and then he just went silent. So and he took on other projects. So hopefully he's not off the project. I do want to see a Nightwing movie, especially directed by Chris McKay, because he definitely knows the universe, and I would like to see someone as passionate as him get a shot at the Nightwing. Nightwing, I don't know if we did a Nightwing casting yet, but I'm not ready to do it until we hear more news about it. But yeah, totally agree with you. Hero says, I'm willing to give him the man a chance despite the way I see him. Yeah, you know, a lot of people, especially in the comments, you know, have been talking about him, you know, the sparkly vampire guy. But again, he's been in a lot of different movies and is actually praised by both a lot of fans who are familiar with his work and actors and directors. So a lot of people are responding well to him if they're familiar with his work. So you can't judge one guy based on one movie he made, you know. There's a lot of actors who've made terrible movies but have gone on to make, you know, incredible stuff. So don't judge him by one movie, guys. And I'm sure he will bulk up. Randy Allen says, Nicholas Hoult should play Owlman, the evil version of Batman. Whoa, Owlman, Crime Syndicate, right? Man, Owlman, that would be... I could see Nicholas Hoult doing Owlman. That would be cool. I'm not opposed to that at all. Let's see. Carlos Soto says, WB, DC have the two greatest well-known characters, Batman and Superman, but have no idea how to use them correctly in their own cinematic universe. Hollywood has officially run out of ideas. I don't think Hollywood ever runs out of ideas. I mean, no idea is original for sure, but I don't think Hollywood, there's so many people writing scripts out there that are just... that have never seen the light of day. So there's always going to be ideas out there, at least how I see it. But as far as Superman and Batman, there's reasons why it's kind of hard to go a certain direction with them, because fans have a lot of expectations in regards to these two iconic heroes, you know. So you know, if you do more of the same, like what we got kind of from the 2006 Superman, people were like about it. And again, there were other issues with that movie as well. But when you try to do something different like Man of Steel, you'll divide some of the fans. A lot of fans didn't like this version of Superman. So there's always going to be criticisms. It's pretty hard. I think, you know, part of what made Marvel really successful is that there were hardly any big budget movies that came out from like Iron Man or Captain America. They were the first, so they didn't have nothing to expect. At least that's my quick 2 cents on it. I haven't given it a quick or a ton of thought, but yeah, I do think with these two iconic characters who have a storied past in Hollywood, it's going to be hard in a lot of cases. So last one, Ryan Thomas says, do you think that this will be in the same 1980s Joker universe? And I think in the We Got It Covered stories, if they're to be believed, their sources to be believed, I think they said that was going to remain in its own universe too, kind of like a Black Label type of movie, you know. But as successful as that is, if it is, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to tie it in somehow. And if somehow they can make all these different universes work and do some sort of Flashpoint movie and make it work, you know, in the long run, man, bravo. You know, all I can say is bravo, WB, if they manage to make that work. And again, that would be a long-term, you know, plan that maybe they have, maybe they don't have. Most likely they don't have. But if they do, man, I'm waiting to see it. I want to root for DC and WB. But again, you got to give the fans, you got to throw the fans a bone sometimes too. So we'll see what they give us at Comic-Con and see what kind of announcements they get. But until then, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Sorry for missing the reading the comments video yesterday. But if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And please hit the notification bell for all the notifications about our video whenever they post, because they post kind of at random times sometimes. But yeah, thank you guys again, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.